Hi, parents and caregivers. I hope this message finds you and your family healthy and safe during these unsettled times. I would like to speak with you today, Tuesday, April 1st, on the subject of what to say to your children about the coronavirus. It's ironic that I'm preparing this presentation on April Fool's Day because this whole ordeal feels like a surreal prank. Unfortunately, though, as we all know, this pandemic is serious and unprecedented. As with any upsetting experience, we need to be particularly sensitive and attentive to our children. In this presentation, I would like to highlight some guidelines and recommendations to consider when caring for our children. As I begin this brief talk, I would like to direct you to the most helpful resource that I found online. It's on the website of the National Association of School Psychologists. There's an article on the CDC website, which is a direct summary of this 4-page article. In adults, knowledge typically leads to empowerment. The more you know, the stronger you feel, and the more equipped you are to deal with demanding situations. At the present time, though, there is a lot about this virus that is unknown. As such, it's easy to see why we're all feeling a bit lost, confused, and helpless. Children, on the other hand, don't need too much information, nor do they want it. The children I have done therapy with online for the past 2 weeks have uniformly told me that there's too much information. They say, "My parents are telling me more than I want to know." As a rule of thumb, err on the side of too little information rather than too much. Children's fragile and vulnerable minds are easily overwhelmed. Similar to the suggestion about erring on the side of too little information, you can start conversations about the coronavirus with a question like, "I know that you know that there's a virus going around. Do you have any questions?" If they answer no, then just leave well enough alone. Don't volunteer any information. Our temptation is to think that if I could just give them a bit of information, then it will calm and soothe them. Follow their lead. If they're curious or worried, they'll ask. If they do have questions, then less is more. Provide brief, unelaborated answers that they could follow up on if they wanted to. Don't be afraid to say, "That's a great question. I don't know the answer, but I'll try and find out." Or, "That's a great question. Nobody knows the answer to that right now, but the scientists are trying to figure it out." Adults typically don't do well with an absence of information because we tend to imagine the worst. Children, alternatively, understand that a lot of things don't have answers, so they're not particularly bothered when someone doesn't know something. Of course, it's important to be honest and accurate. In the case of the coronavirus, though, there's a lot we don't know. Refrain from speculation. Also, honest and accurate information does not have to be harsh and brutal. As with much communication, the delicate and nuanced way that something is said can be more impactful than the content of the message. Of course, it also matters what words you choose. "Mom, I've heard that a lot of people are dying from this virus. If I get the virus, am I going to die?" Here's a bad but accurate answer. "Well, honey, the statistics certainly make it unlikely, but given that millions of people will be infected, including children, there is a remote but distinct chance that yes, you will die if you get the virus." Here's a slightly better answer. "Well, honey, there are going to be a lot of people that will die from this illness, but there is a very, very small chance that you will die if you get the virus." Here's an even better answer. "The President of the United States and all of the doctors have told us to stay at home for a while, which is what we're doing. So you don't have to worry because you're not going to get the virus in the first place." We all know that the adage, "do as I say, not as I do," does not work. By far and away, the most powerful tool you have as parents is the manner in which you conduct yourselves. Yes, approval, consistency, and love rank up there too, but children learn how to live by watching you. They learn how to treat other people, how to interact with them. They learn how to judge right from wrong, and they mimic your personal qualities, which eventually make up their identities. Try to be calm, considerate, patient, and in good humor. In turn, your children will feel safe and confident and will grow up to be nice, good people. For children, reassurance is far more important than information for their sense of personal safety. That said, there are some pieces of information that we know to be true that will be reassuring to children if they ask. For example, most people, by a long shot, will not get sick. Even less will actually die. You could say, in a big pot of rice, if rice were people, then only a couple pieces of rice will get sick from this virus. Honey, we have to stay at home because almost everybody is staying at home. Only the doctors and nurses and police and fire people are going to work to help us, and they are being very, very careful. We are staying at home because the virus germs like to play tag you're it with other people. So if we're not with other people, the germs can't tag anyone. What would you do if you were playing tag and there was nobody to tag? Right, you would go home. That's what's going to happen to the germs since we are staying at home. Again, and only if you're asked, it would be appropriate to explain something like, there are many doctors and scientists in many countries all over the world that are making a medicine to get rid of this virus germ. It's hard to make a medicine because we've never seen this virus before, so there's lots and lots of work to do. They're not exactly sure, but they think they'll be able to invent a medicine in just a few months. Ultimately, a child's sense of safety comes from their parents, but also comes from the network of adults that are charged with overseeing and protecting everyone. The infrastructure of our American life is still fully operational. It would be reassuring to a child to know that there is a vast umbrella of adults keeping them safe and protected. The needs of children at various ages are obviously different, but most parenting revolves around keeping your children safe. We keep them healthy through eating well, good sleep hygiene, and exercise. We protect them from external threats. We even protect them from themselves, like limiting or prohibiting risky behavior. We want them to grow up self-assured, confident, and self-directed. All of your communications about the coronavirus, as with most other subjects, should be considered in light of instilling a sense of safety and security in your children. I would now like to address some specific issues pertaining to children at different developmental stages. For smaller children, some of the points that have already been raised are pertinent. Emphasize that they are safe, such as, there's nothing to worry about. You are safe. We are safe. Your teachers and everyone in this community are safe. Young children are not thinking of Italy or Iran. Less is better. Only answer questions that are asked, and even then with short, unelaborated answers. Make home a calm, lighthearted, and even fun place. Take a walk and look for bears. Reassure them that adults are taking care of everything, and of course, give them lots of hugs and kisses. Remember, children spend lots of time imagining and fantasizing. There is no need to jolt them into reality with worrisome, anxiety-provoking information. Also, be mindful of your language. To a child, the term serious illness can translate to when Aunt Rose was dying in the hospital from cancer. Children, if they ask, may respond better to an explanation like, germs are very, very, very little animals that we can't see. Some germs are good for us, like the zillions in our tummies that help us eat our food. Some germs give us coughs and runny noses, which is what a virus is. Every year, there are different kinds of germs. This year, the germs are a bit more sticky, so people are getting a virus. But, like all viruses, this one will go away too. Preteens from about grade 4 through grade 7 are probably the most challenging with respect to balancing accurate information with a sense of security. They know enough to be misinformed and worried. They will have a sense of the vastness and the lethality of the problem. They will have tougher questions about the pandemic that will not necessarily have satisfactory answers. Still, many of the recommendations I've discussed remain applicable, like keeping your answers to questions brief and accurate and minimizing and softening information whenever you can. Here are some other ideas. Now that they have a bit more time, ask them to pitch in and help out. Feeling productive and accomplished, even doing household chores, will give them a sense of contributing to a greater cause. Take a more active and involved interest in their distant learning activities. They are alone in their work. Their teachers and classmates are not accessible as they once were. You'll need to supplement the support, encouragement, and camaraderie they typically get from school. Keep them busy doing activities. Have them listen to music, read, do hobbies, call and FaceTime with friends and family. I think a measured amount of daily video gaming is okay, especially when they're interacting with their friends. Have them continue with their prior activities while also introducing them to novel ones. This sheltering could go on for a while. Don't let their size, or their vocabularies, or their references to popular culture fool you. Developmentally, this group of children are much more emotionally and psychologically similar to younger children than they are to older adolescents. I reviewed an article that said that older students are able to discuss issues in a more in-depth, adult-like fashion and can be referred directly to appropriate sources of COVID-19 facts. It went on to say that providing older students with, quote, honest, accurate, and factual information can help them feel a sense of control, close quote. While the article contained a lot of valuable information, I would respectfully disagree with this advice. I think that, generally speaking, we tend to adultify teenagers. We ascribe more maturity, expect more responsibility, and see them as more adaptive than they actually are. They are still children, albeit older children, but still very much works in progress. As independent and autonomous as they would like to be, and as they certainly should strive to be, they still need our help. Parenting at this stage is comparable to teaching a younger child to learn to swim. You get in the pool and balance them in your outstretched arms so that they can get comfortable moving around in the water. If you let go too early, they will struggle to stay afloat and, at best, adopt bad habits. Alternatively, if you hang on too long, they'll never learn to be effective swimmers. I believe we generally let go a bit too early. I think it is psychologically overwhelming for teenagers to be fully apprised of all of the scary, contradictory, misleading, and even accurate information out there. Our TV and print news is sensationalized and politicized. At this time, there are many more questions about the coronavirus than facts. As I mentioned earlier in my presentation, I think too much information can actually lead adolescents to feeling powerless and out of control. My recommendation is that you watch the news and read the articles, and then sit down and answer your adolescents' questions. I would like to close with some brief last words. We don't know how long this is going to last. We want our children to feel safe and protected, and they feel safest when things are predictable. This is why they thrive on schedules and routines. This is why an emphasis should be placed on maintaining the natural rhythm of the day. You want your family to adhere to a normal daily schedule consisting of regular bedtimes, meal times, wake-up times, play times, and free time. Chores should be continued and, for older children, exercise routines and times should be maintained. As we find ourselves sheltering at home for an indefinite period, an attempt to keep life as normal as possible should be made. For children, this translates to the structure provided by routines. When the fragile minds of children are stressed, they have a tendency to revert back to earlier, more immature behavior. This past week, I did a video session with a 5th grader who spoke with me for the entire time in baby talk. It goes without saying that most people are tense and on edge. Many people are irritable at best, and others are losing sleep because of anxiety and becoming depressed at how dramatically their lives have been interrupted. We are all going through a lot, and sometimes the tension in a family can trickle down to the most vulnerable members. You will see them be more irritable, easily frustrated, and whiny. Go easy on them. They need even more understanding and kindness than usual. I'm not saying to let them be overly disruptive and misbehaved. Discipline, hopefully in the form of praise and rewards, should still be carried out. I'm merely suggesting that if your children are displaying some increased irritability, agitation, or anger, then maybe they just need an extra hug. All of the children I've talked to seem to be on board with the importance of practicing good hygiene. Listen carefully to your children. Hang out and play with them. Talk with them. Answer questions and keep it brief. Ask about how they feel about what's going on. Laugh with them. Hug and kiss them. Love them. If you do most of these things most of the time, your children will be fine. I'm sure you've all heard the stories about families coming together during this period of sheltering and parents having super intimate conversations with their children. While some of these stories may be true, it is probably better to lower your expectations rather than raise them. People are tense and worried and feeling isolated and disoriented, so don't expect consistently loving family interactions. That's too much pressure. Just love and support each other with praise and hugs and kisses. Take great care of one another. If you do, you'll find that these close, intimate moments will likely appear. Thank you for watching this presentation. I sincerely hope you found it helpful. There are a lot of resources out there, articles to read, experts to talk to. There's still a lot we don't know about the virus. If you've had it once, can you catch it again? How long does it last on surfaces? In the air? How long will this pandemic last? Your children will probably ask you these questions and more. Remember, it's reassuring for children to hear, "That's a great question. I'm not sure about the answer." Sometimes it's okay to say that, even if you are. Please feel free to contact me directly if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you for this opportunity. Take care and be well.